Hello everyone, this is Spencer Snowling. Thank you for coming to today's webinar, one in our continuing series that we've been offering for the past year and a half. So today we're going to be talking about SimuWorks. SimuWorks is a customized dashboard for GPSX models. So it's a way that you can take an existing model and put a customized front end on it for use in different ways. So my name is Spencer Snowling. I've been with Hydromantis for the past 13 years. If I've not met you before, I'm Vice President, Business and Product Development. And if you're not familiar with Hydromantis, we've been around for the past 27 years. And as you may know, we are specialists in the area of using modeling and simulation for engineering tools, for training and plant optimization. So we have 4 packages that we sell. GPSX is our sort of main flagship product that does wastewater process simulation and optimization. We also have a package called CapNetworks, which does preliminary design and costing. We also have ToxChem for the modeling of microconstituents and other chemicals in wastewater treatment plants. We have a new version of that coming out shortly. And we also have WattPro for doing drinking water treatment modeling. So when we're talking about SimuWorks, this is a product that is a skin that is applied to a GPSX wastewater treatment plant model. So if you've got a model that's been developed and calibrated, and you've got it up and running and doing the things that you want it to do, what we can do is be brought in and prepare another customized interface. So this is another image that will be used over top of GPSX. So this is a way that you can create something that's customized for a specific plant. So once that's been established, we then take out the numerical model out of GPSX and put it into this new interface. And it becomes the way that you drive the model. And so it's been focused specifically for this plant using a very customized image that's representative of that system. The advantage is that it allows end users to access and interact with the model without having to learn the GPSX software, which was really designed to be able to build models. So this gives us the advantage that that interface can be customized, it can be plant specific, and it can be a simplified dashboard for the use of that model. And the good thing is that we have developed the technology to be able to import any type of image, to be able to implement different bits of information to be put in different places, to be able to graph anything, to be able to make the menus work in any way that you want. So SimuWorks allows us to offer the best benefits of both modeling and simulation and also customized interfaces. So this allows us to do advanced operator training where we can use that interface to mimic an existing SCADA screen and allow people to be challenged with different types of simulation scenarios. We can use it for rapid identification and validation of plant optimization and cost-saving strategies. So we can set up some systems where you can look at reducing energy or possibly changing the way that you operate your plant. We can do sophisticated risk analysis where we can look at different types of events and see what's the probability of something going wrong. And we can look at using a simulation for key decision making where you might want to use models to predict planning for the future and construction management. So as far as operator training is concerned, the idea here is that we use SimuWorks as a replication of an existing wastewater treatment plant control room. So we're doing this right now here in the city of Hamilton, where we're mimicking up their control room system and providing operators with a modeled version of that where they can come in and work in a realistic and immersive environment and run simulations that are similar to what they would do in the real plant. So they would sit down just the way that they would normally look at this particular SCADA screen, which would be connected to something going on at that wastewater treatment plant. We replaced the treatment plant with a model. It's still the same SCADA screen. They still interact with it the same way, but now we're looking at the results from the model instead. So this is what it looks like in Hamilton. This is the thing that we're replicating. Those screens there are going to be connected to the GPSX model underneath, and then we're developing up a number of training scenarios that are going to be run through for the operators to take their simulation training on. This allows for training in a controlled environment. The different types of scenarios can be developed, such as wet weather events, where they're challenged with understanding how to bypass or step feed at their particular plant as appropriate. Possible operational failures of different parts of the plant, as well as loading changes. If you had a spill or some sudden change in loading, how would you respond to that? And when you run a simulation and the operators take their actions, there's the opportunity to evaluate that and then see how they did and roll it all back and do it again and see what was learned from that first attempt, see if you can improve upon it, and that can be done as many times as needed. There is also the option to sort of supplement that level of training by putting in some other audio cues and visual cues that are connected to the simulation, such that would simulate what they would hear in that environment, announcements over the speaker, phones, and other things going on. And that's all tied in. That's sort of the more advanced version of that completely immersive environment. The good news is it's very customizable, so SimuWorks can really be, as complex or as simple as required. It can either be just, that full plant room environment with, the audio cues and everything going on, or it can be just something as simple as what you would run on a laptop. So when it comes to doing cost saving, you might design your interface a little bit differently. In this case, you would want to be able to quickly run a number of different scenarios that allows you to make operational changes. One in particular, you may want to know if I can operate my plant differently that may put off any capital upgrades that I'm running. So modeling is really good for being able to simulate what happens when you take different actions with operating your plant and seeing what kind of effect that has on your plant effluent. So we could see whether maybe operating the plant would allow us to put off any capital upgrades. We also have the option to run simulations that would allow us to do energy savings, to see whether I could reduce some aeration or some pumping, see if I can get the same kind of performance while using less energy. We can also use that to take a look at running at a different SRT. If I run at a different sludge age, is that going to affect my sludge production, and what may happen with my changes in gas production from that? We could also use SimuWorks to evaluate risk analysis. So that allows us to run a number of simulations of a number of different types of events and evaluate what is our exposure to putting ourselves in a situation where something potentially bad could happen. So one obvious idea that comes to mind is wet weather events. If we develop up a number of scenarios that are based around running different types of storms through your plant, you could run a number of scenarios to see how frequently are we going to be in a challenging position. That can be then combined with taking processes offline. What's our worst case scenario if we have one of our clarifiers out of service and then one of these storms hits? And you can run different combinations of the things offline with different types of wet weather events, for example. This will allow you to, also identify bottlenecks in both the liquid and solids handling side to understand, what is the risk of that bottleneck point in my plant. And lastly, you can certainly use SimuWorks if you design the interface in a certain way for planning for the future. There's a way that you can run simulations that you could, even if you don't have all the minutiae of details about what may be happening in the future, you can still get a really good feeling for an overall capacity and the trends for the future. You could run a capacity analysis and find out how long do we have in this plant before we have to make a major capital expansion. Is that sort of going to be 2 years or 10 years down the road? We're not sure. It allows you to also evaluate what's going to happen at your plant if there is a future change in the loading, such as changes where a local industry may be coming in and setting up, or one may be shutting down indeed, and that's going to have a potential large change in your influent loading. Could be also on the domestic side where some water pricing policy or conservation effort is going to change the concentrations and flows coming into your plant. You can also look at using it for planning construction schedules. You could have scenarios set up that allows you to run scenarios that shows you what's going to happen if certain things are taken offline. I was involved in a project a few years ago in 2010 that was of this nature, where we were brought in to model a plant that was going to take two of their four clarifiers out of service for repair. And we were brought in to make a model and help them understand what would happen, what was the worst case scenario if they had both of those taken out of service at the same time for repair, which was the cheaper option, or were they going to have to do it one after another. So we ran simulations with different storms to show them what happens when they have one clarifier out of service, and then what happens when there's two out. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate some of these different types of dashboards so you can get a feeling for what the different looks and feel are for these different dashboards. There are different setups here depending on what the purpose is of each one of these. So this is, I'm going to start with this project that we're just finishing up right now. This is for the city of Cincinnati, and we are completing this project with Hazen and Sawyer. So as you can see, this looks a lot different than GPSX. It's a bit more sort of intuitive interface. These are plants and drawings that are specific to this particular plant. And there are a number of interactive features here. You can see we've summarized the most important parameters in that model to be able to change the influent loading and so on. And we have a number of different scenarios that we can run. And it's quite possible here when you're running these to very easily take things on and offline and observe how that's going to change the behavior of that plant. So for example, here you can see these some of these water levels go up and down. You can see here I can right click and then take this tank out of service. It becomes grayed out, and all the other flow splits and other behavior around the plants are changed accordingly to be able to take this particular thing out of service. And we could run different scenarios there based on whatever it is that this client wants to be able to do. So that's sort of one kind of look and feel where we've simplified the very large number of parameters that are available in GPSX down to the sort of top 10 list that's required to be able to run this simulation. Okay, so let's take a look now at a job that we did with Pima County in Arizona, where we click on this, and this is a bit more of a SCADA-ish type of interface. We have different types of scenarios that we can run here and different bits of information that we can play with. So let's run our wet weather event here. And we can see we're plotting BOD throughout the plant as part of that simulation. And in this case, the client wanted a certain design and a certain look and feel here to be able to do certain things as part of their simulation. We also put some other more detailed events, graphs into this. You can see our wet weather event has happened here as part of this simulation. And this was designed to be an intuitive interface to be able to do some training and to be able to use as an operational guide. Okay, so let's take a look now at work that we did with the city of Cleveland. Here, this is a slightly less SCADA-like looking one. This is a bit more of an overhead drawing, and this is what the client wanted in this particular case here. So this one is interesting. We can run some simulations here. It includes a few things with cost here, energy requirements, energy cost, chemical dosage cost. And so this simulation is, or these images are designed to work in a sort of fairly intuitive format. There's a reduced number of parameters here that can describe the behavior of this plant. So this was another sort of different look and feel again. And I'd like to show you one that we're doing here in Hamilton. This is the one that is sort of an absolute replication of a SCADA system that's going to be used for training. And as you can see here, we're using the front page as an overhead view of the plant. So I'm going to click on these aeration basins. And this is the look of their system. So if I run the simulation, this is a screenshot of their exact SCADA screens. And now this has been hooked to the model now. You can see some DO levels there as the simulation proceeds. And we're still working on hooking up all the graphs and all of the other information that's behind this so that they can just click on these parts of this graph in the same way they would with the real SCADA system, and that passes the information to the model so they can run the appropriate simulations. Okay, so let's go back to the slides now. Okay, the way this works then, this project would work if you were interested to work with us on preparing one of these things, is that we would become involved to some degree as a professional services engagement. We would help you with scoping out what the client would actually want in terms of their model. So to define what the requirements are, what the purpose of that simulator is. We would be involved in the model development and calibration if that model doesn't already exist. Certainly we would help with the scenario development, so that would be thinking about what those weather events would be like, what those storms would look like. The interface development, so what the look and feel of that model front end is, and then of course testing and deployment. So the cost of developing up a SimuWorks interface is a function of the complexity of not only the wastewater treatment plant, whether it's two systems in series or whether you've got digesters involved or not, but also the scenarios themselves too. You have two different storms, or how many different types of scenarios do you want to run? So our experience on the projects that we've been doing over the years is that a single plant of a typical complexity might range between $30,000 and $75,000, depending on the complexity of those scenarios and the model. And the good thing is, of course, though, if you already have a model in place, if you have a GPSX model already put together, then there's the potential that might reduce that cost a little bit, since the modeling work has been already done. Then once that's in place, there's a tech support contract that can be entered into, and we can maintain with you over the years the opportunity to find out what you would like in terms of new scenarios and add new features and options to that simulation package. So Hydromantis, really, we can be involved as much as necessary. We can help you by, putting a SimuWorks front end, a dashboard interface on an existing GPSX model. If you already have one in place, then we can be just brought in to put this kind of a front end on it. Or we can be help you make one completely from scratch, where we would take your information from your plant and your data and drawings and so forth, create that model for you, and then ultimately put the front end on it. And that's something that can be done in stages over a period of time. So just in summary, SimuWorks really is being the ability for us to put a customized interface, a customized dashboard, a front end on your models. So the idea behind it is to make it so that the model is easy to use once it's been developed. Those scenarios are easy to select and make sense. It can be used for training, optimizing, planning. Each of those might have a slightly different look and feel to it depending on what the purpose was, but it's our ability to be able to make a custom front end for you. So what I'd like to do now is just illustrate a few things that are new and coming up at Hydromantis, and then I'll move on and answer some questions. So first of all, we have a new version of ToxChem coming out next month. As I mentioned, this new version is going to have new unit processes, an SBR model, and a surface HPO model, and that's coming out next month. We've updated our video library now. If you go to the videos tab on our website and you go to the recorded webinar section, we've now added a number of new recording. I think there's 8 or 9 of them there now, so that's quite a number of hours of information for you to listen to if you like. And we now offer a full suite of online training workshops, so that we have a 1-day package for ToxChem, and I just did one of those yesterday actually, and a 2-day package for GPSX, where we offer training for these 2 packages over this internet webinar service, just like we're doing today. So there are 2 upcoming webinars we'd like to tell you about. First of all, on May 16th, we're going to have the release of ToxChem version 4.1, and so we'll be demonstrating it, showing you the new models and answering any questions you may have. And then 2 weeks after that, we will be on May 30th having a repeat of one of our popular webinars from last year on modeling sequencing batch reactors. So there will be an opportunity to learn about the model, to watch how we suggest that you go through and set up your models. We have a step-by-step process that will help you sort of decide which model to use and how to get it set up and debug that sequencing so that you get it working the way that you like, and then we can show you what you can do with the model once you've got that up and running. So in both of these cases, please come to our website, hydromantis.com, click on the webinars tab, and then you can register for the webinars there, and we encourage you to do that after we're done here today. So as always, you can come to our website, but you can also follow us on Twitter at Hydromantis, and on Facebook and LinkedIn as well, where we provide updates to things that we have going on, and there you will also receive information about the new and upcoming webinars that we have coming along shortly. So thank you very much for attending today. I wish you a good day. If you can stay, we'll answer a few questions now.
Thank you for watching this video. If you're interested in information on our other software products, such as CapNetWorks for preliminary design and costing, ToxChem for industrial wastewater treatment modeling, or WattPro for drinking water treatment modeling, you can visit our website at www.hydromantis.com for further information.